Well, what was the initial reaction from the staff to the damage?
Interestingly, the initial reaction from the staff was certainly confusion and fear. The museum does have a disaster preparedness manual, and tornado is in the disaster plan. However, tornadoes being so atypical to the area, nobody thought of running to the book to find out how to respond. So even though the plan says stay away from the windows, if you have time to clear artifacts into safe areas, do so. Go downstairs. Don't come upstairs until the tornado clear is sounded. The warnings are gone. And my one staff member, our education person, heard all the crashing and banging, and she runs upstairs to see what's going on, looking out the windows, everything you're not supposed to do. So there was just total confusion as to what was going on. And then upon looking outside, seeing the windows blown, the curtains shredded, blowing in the wind, and the trees and the limbs just scattered all over Main Street, it wasn't just the museum staff. The entire downtown area was in a state of total confusion. People were outside. It's remarkable that no one was severely hurt. Fortunately, nobody on the staff was hurt, but absolutely traumatized. And the trauma, when you actually are in a tornado and you have your entire life changed in a second, the trauma doesn't dissipate. It stays for months and months. And going through a lot of disaster preparedness plans, the museum has become a poster child for this because a lot of plans are written without somebody actually experiencing it. You find that we have become a resource for other institutions to learn from the actual experience that we had. So if the staff has gone through this trauma, their lives changed, certainly their careers have changed, their emotional connections have changed when you hear something loud coming. If we could pass it on and use it as a learning tool for other institutions, that would have made this worth going through.
What was the total damage cost?
After the 25,000 artifacts were outloaded from the museum, which took about 10 months, we were able to get inside the building with the architects and the engineers and assess the full scope of the damage. From that, what's called a pre-schematic was created that really detailed the entire scope of work that has to take place. The building was somewhat fragile. It was a 100-year-old building to begin with, so you couldn't just fix the tornado damage. You have to get there. But the complete value is estimated at somewhere between $15 and $17 million renovation restoration, with the tornado being a good sizable part of that.
How is the museum funded its reconstruction?
With the pre-schematic documents, we have received wonderful funding from the state of Connecticut, Historic Preservation Office, the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation, People's Bank Foundation has supported this, the Fairfield County Foundation. There have been wonderful supporters who have just generously been donating. We were able to raise money for an endangered building project to help us pay for the studies. Right now, we're working with the architects and the engineers to do the drawings. Those are the soft costs that are very hard. So the state is going to help us pull that funding together. From there, the museum is designing a campaign to really not just showcase the tornado, but showcase how magnificent the Barnum Museum is to the community and the region, certainly. So it's not just important to fix it because of the tornado. We need to fix the building because it's so important to everyone, to all seekers of knowledge that want to learn about the 19th century, that want to visit. Our strongest demographics come from Pennsylvania, New York, Long Island. And these are the people that are moving their way through the state and experiencing Connecticut. And they stop in Bridgeport, and they want to enjoy a visit. And to not have the museum available to them is a shame on so many levels. So as we work forward to really produce a magnificent historic restoration project and revive the collection and revive the programs, it's important that the whole picture is done so we can be a full and complete vital part of the community and the educational community again.
What is the museum's relationship with People's United Bank?
When People's United Bank decided to build their major corporate headquarters in the late 1980s, they really purchased a big part of the land that surrounds the museum. There used to be a cross street called Gilbert Street that no longer exists anymore because the bank headquarters is there. But they are literally connected at the hip. And we do an awful lot of work with many of the people that work for the bank in various departments and with their facilities. So it's been a wonderful relationship that we've had moving forward through these years.
How long do you think the full reconstruction process will take?
We're estimating that the full reconstruction process will probably take about 3 years from now. So from the time the tornado hit till the time we really reopen completely all floors of the museum will be somewhere about 4 years. Interestingly, when they went through the renovations in the late 1980s, they were able to do all of the planning, to raise the money, to do all the designs and the artifact inventories and interpretive stuff before the museum even closed. So they had about 3 years of planning, completely unknown to the public. When they decided to finally close to do the renovations, it took 3 years. What's interesting about doing this as a response to a natural disaster impact, we were denied any of that planning time. We've been in a fishbowl. So we have to do all of our studies, all of our fundraising completely in the public eye as a closed institution. And when people say, gee, why is it taking so long? It's taking long because there was none of that blind planning that we were able to do before we could say, hey, we're launching a campaign for renovations. So it's a very unusual situation to be in, and it's a critical part of this restoration and revitalization to maintain a presence in the media, to let people know we're not going dark. We're trying to still maintain some type of profile in the community, that we are working to bring it all back and make people feel a part of that as well.
What do you see in the future for the museum?
I see the museum's future as magnificent, and I've said this going through, it's been a long year and a half. In 10 years from now, somebody's going to say, oh, remember the tornado? And they're going to go, oh my gosh, yeah, there was a tornado in Bridgeport. People won't remember. We have very short memories. So even though it's very organic and very alive for us now, as soon as those doors open, it's going to be magnificent. It'll be spectacular. People are going to have a fuller experience when they come to the museum. The professionals that are associated to this renovation now are extraordinary, top of their game, with great insights as to how a 19th century museum can really be an immersive part of the community and bring in experiences and colors and objects and artifacts and programs that nobody'd really seen before. Somebody said very early on after the tornado hit, it's like, it's an opportunity to make lemonade out of lemons. And that's really how we've approached it. We've had to, or else you wouldn't be able to survive something like this. It's like all of this is an opportunity to be a much more wonderful place for people to come and visit and enjoy the city of Bridgeport as well.